I have got your fave in studio, Miss South Africa, Shudufhadzo Musida in studio.
1 2 1 2. I'm here.
There we go. There we go. She's here. She's here.
She loves a good laugh, even if it's at herself.
Andy on 947.
Shudufhadzo Musida, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. You look beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, doesn't it get tiring looking this beautiful? No?
Girl, I had to wake up so early. This is not easy at all.
Ish, but listen, I mean, being beautiful can't be easy. Must be nice. Listen, Shudu, you know, every time I see you, I always remind you of my yellow dress philosophy. Mm-hmm. You know, the first time I met Miss South Africa in 2019, at that point was Zozi, and I was emceeing an event, and she happened to be one of the speakers. I happened to be wearing yellow, and that day the Rugby World Cup was happening, the finals, and you know the Boks happened to win, and then a few weeks later, you know, Zozi happened to become Miss Universe. So today I had to honor, you know, the good luck and the good juju and wear yellow, just so that you know when I see you, you get the good juju in. So as you go to Miss World,
I'm absorbing it.
You're absorbing it.
I'm absorbing it.
Speaking of, how are the preparations? What is the timeline between now and Miss World actually happening?
So I haven't heard really like much about it. All I've heard is like October, November, so towards the end of my reign, which is really, really cool. And in terms of preparation, being Miss South Africa, I feel is the preparation that I need for Miss World, because with the launch of Mindful Mondays and everything that we're doing in terms of mental health, that is my Beauty with a Purpose campaign. Yeah. And once we launch it fully, I think it's just going to be something that's pretty amazing. But being Miss South Africa is the biggest prep that I can ever have towards Miss World.
I love that. And you know what I've realized about you is that you really are the queen of manifesting. Because I remember when I listened to you, was it last year, towards the end of last year, you were with Anil in the club, they interviewed you, and you were talking about how during the Miss South Africa competition, pageant, if you will, you were taking videos of yourself, you know, as if you were preparing for a documentary of sorts, right? Yes. As if you knew that you were going to become Miss South Africa. They're going to need this footage, so, you know, they're clearly not doing the work. Might as well do the work for them, which is incredible. Yeah. And you also said that you do have a winner's mindset. And I'm wondering, the converse of that, when you experience failure, who's the one person that you need to hear, that you need to speak to in order to get yourself back up again?
When I experience failure, to be honest, the biggest conversations you can have are with yourself. I think you can go to other people to say, okay, listen, I failed, what's next? Yeah. But if you don't have those conversations with yourself, you're not going to go anywhere, because you're the only person that knows what's going on. So for me, it's a conversation between me, myself, and I, but then also there's like that higher power that I go to, like, listen, the plans that he has for me are to prosper me and never to harm me. Absolutely. So this failure that's there, or this rejection that I may experience, doesn't mean that it's failure or rejection, just means that there's a bigger door that's waiting for me on the other side. So every single time when that happens, I constantly need to remind myself that, listen, there's another door that's going to open. It's not a failure. So even with Miss South Africa, with or without the crown, it was a win-win situation, not a win-lose situation. Yeah.
Shock, girl, you gave me chills. Wow. So when you go back home, I mean, I remember watching your homecoming, which was honestly, it felt like a spiritual experience to watch, you know. It really was honestly the most amazing thing. So when you go back home, what do they call you? Like your grandmother, your cousins? I'm sure they don't call you Shudu. They must have a family nickname. What's your family nickname there?
Abi. So Abi. So like growing up, everyone calls me Abi back home. So even my grandfather. So the first time he saw, let me tell you something. The first time he saw Shudufhadzo on television, he's like, I see this name here. Who's that? He's like, I see this name here. He's like, Abi, I see this name here.
That is hilarious.
And it's like now he talks to me like he's talking like a third person, Shudufhadzo, but he so it's Abi to my family. But I was joking around with them actually. I think it was around September, August. So we were painting the pavement at my sister's guest house. So we were like painting the pavement, and I was like, if I win Mesese, it's no longer Abi. Refer to me as Mesese. Hey.
Well, I love that they bring you down back to your roots. I mean, painting the pavement, child.
If you see the pictures, not glamorous.
Also, the impact on the knees, like.
I was literally sitting on a bucket. So painting, while I was sitting on a bucket trying to paint the pavement.
Okay, that is some bougie way of painting the pavement. Okay. I've got Miss South Africa, Shudufhadzo Musida in the studio. Shudu, good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, I feel like we should just stay here. We can just do the show together. No?
Let's.
Okay, cool. Let's cancel. Can we cancel the schedule? Cool. Now, Shudu, I mean, you said on the day that you were crowned Miss South Africa that you want to start a mindful movement. And you've done exactly that. So you've called it Mindful Mondays. Tell us all about what it is.
So Mindful Mondays is like basically conversation with different experts and different perspectives from different communities, where the aim is to educate and inform how we as a society view mental health and hopefully destigmatize it. So we're doing it in partnership with the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, SADAG. So it was quite important to bring them on board because they have the necessary resources, because a lot of people need help, but they're not sure where to go. A lot of people didn't even know that SADAG had a 24-hour counseling line. But then through Mindful Mondays, people get educated and realize, okay, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to seek help. You're not alone. We are a great big community, and especially now during COVID-19, mental health struggles have been exacerbated greatly. So it's quite important for us to start engaging in these conversations, and that's the reason I started the Mindful Movement, Mindful Mondays.
I love that. On your own mental health journey, what for you was the biggest misconception that you had to debunk for yourself, when you started your own journey?
That just because you feel sad or something's wrong in your life, it doesn't mean that you're not grateful for your life. So you find that, because I grew up in a village, so when I was having my own mental health struggles, I would feel like, no, I shouldn't be feeling this way. That means I'm being ungrateful for feeling that way, because there's so many people back in the village that would kill to have a life like mine, the opportunities that I have. So sometimes I'd sit and I'd just be like, no, I can't feel this way. Then you suppress and then eventually it just gets too much. But then I had to debunk that for myself, because sometimes people think just because your life is going great, you can't have mental health struggles. But then mental health does not discriminate with anyone. It can be with the person who lives in the rural areas or with someone who lives in Campsway in Cape Town. So it's a struggle that almost everyone faces. And when I came to terms with that, and when I decided to seek help, I had to get over that and say, okay, just because I've been blessed, it doesn't mean that I can't struggle.
It's actually so true. I think also for me and my journey as well, what I've realized is that mental illness doesn't have a look, doesn't look a certain way.
It doesn't.
You can be the happiest person in the world but still be struggling in terms of your mental health journey in itself, which I think is so true. Now, I think for the past year, we've really had the toughest time in terms of trying to figure out what's going on. I'm still trying to figure that part out. If anybody could answer, that would be nice. And also, I think we've just had a really great shift in perspective in terms of what's important and, what it is that we value in terms of who we are and what makes us. For you, what has been the one thing that you've been made mindful of through this time, other than mental health? What's the one thing that you're more mindful of in terms of, okay, this is something I need to prioritize and make, a big part of my life?
Living. I think for the longest time we plan and we do all these things and we forget to live. When COVID started, I remember I was struggling because now I can't plan anything. That means and I can't really rely on time because we don't know where time is going. We're forced to stay in one place. And I realized that I don't know how to live. So my therapist was like, focus on the small victories. When you wake up in the morning, that is one thing you need to be grateful for. Taking a walk, live. Look around you, live and appreciate the little things. And that's what COVID taught us, to appreciate the little things. You find a lot of people baking. When last did you bake? You find a lot of people.
That's why I gained weight. It's fine. It's okay.
Girl, you're not alone. But it taught me. I think it taught me how to live. So when it taught me how to live, that was the first time I decided to just get over the fear of failing. So when I entered Miss South Africa, I would have never done that if it wasn't for COVID. If I'm being honest, because it was just the thing of, okay, if I do it and I fail, then what happens next? Now it was like, you can do it. If you fail, you fail. If you succeed, you succeed.
Exactly.
But then at this time, you don't have the time or the luxury to be saying that, no, I'm going to do it next year. Who knows if next year is going to come?
Sure. I don't know if it's the aircon or if it's Shudu, but I got goosebumps everywhere. Okay. So Mindful Mondays. It is a Monday today. Where is it happening? Number one. Also, can you give us a hint as to who's your guest for today for Mindful Mondays?
Okay. So today's topic is the LGBTQI community, the youth plus youth, and mental health. And we have Tammy Dish. I don't know.
Yes.
Tammy Kotlo. And then we have is a doctor, but Malin van der der Walt. Sorry, I always get these names wrong. But he's an educational psychologist. So the whole point is to have a conversation around that and get, like I said, we have different perspectives from different communities, but also have like an expert on board and to just have a conversation about this, because there's so many things, like so many social ills in our societies where we disregard certain groups of people just because we think, no, there's a certain type of normal, you know. So for me, it was quite important to engage in this conversation because everyone deserves love, everyone deserves to be seen, everyone deserves to be heard, and it's quite important for us to engage in this conversation. And it happens on Instagram, on my Instagram and his Instagram. It happens on my Instagram and his Instagram at 7 p.m. tonight. And then we're going to have the educational psychologist, Dr. Malin, at my place.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, as in like your actual flat.
My actual flat.
Must be nice to be that educational psychologist. Listen, I'm really, really excited for what it is that you're doing. I think it's important that being that you have this platform, so many young people need to have these conversations. Also because you have the group of both young and old people are fascinated by, you know, being who you are. And it's so nice that we get to have these conversations, young and old, you know. I think a lot of, you know, of the older generation need the language to speak about mental health. And I'm glad that, you know, you're bridging that gap, you know, with Mindful Mondays. So really, congratulations for starting this. We wish you all the best. We're definitely going to be tuning in on Shudu's IG Live, 7 p.m. tonight. 7
p.m. tonight. Every single Monday, we're going to have a different topic. But it's quite, I think tonight's topic is quite important because it's important for us to educate one another on how we respect one another and mental health all around. I think especially in the LGBTQI plus community, this has been a big topic. It's time to highlight that now. Yeah.
Something just came to mind. So today, matric results are coming out. Any message for them before they get the results? Just something to be mindful of.
I've been there. It's not easy when you are waiting for your results because most of the time you're thinking about who you're going to disappoint and you don't even think about yourself in the process. It's about whether or not my life is over with this, but it's not the end of the world. You've got so many options. I was in a place where I wasn't too happy with my matric results, but then I had to get to a place where I was like, okay, cool. I can upgrade my marks and I'm an honors graduate right now. Yes. So it's a thing of you're not alone, and whatever happens, it does not define you. I promise you, does not define you. And just remember, you're a matric during a pandemic. You are a matric during a pandemic. Well done. No matter what happens, well done. I'm proud of you.
Couldn't have said it any better. You're Miss South Africa, live on 947. Shudu, thank you so much for always taking the time out to come to us and also to chat to us. Wish you all the best, and really a big thank you. And all the best as you go to and prepare for Miss World, okay?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here.
Oh, I love it. That was your Miss South Africa. You can get the review of all of that on our social media pages as well as on 947.co.za. Shudufhadzo Musida on 947.
She loves a good laugh, even if it's at herself.
Andy on 947.